And that is one of those theories, as mad as it sounds, I actually do believe it. Like, how? And like, you're like, love potions? What is this? To catch up anyone who only ever watched Game of Thrones, the show. But in the show, Robb falls in love and marries this woman, right? Who, funny enough, the actress is the granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin. True fact. Yeah, he marries her, and then that's why the phrase, he loses his alliance with the phrase, and that causes the Red Wedding to happen, right? But in the books, it's slightly different, where, like, instead of that foreign girl, he marries a girl called Jane Westerling, who's a part of, like, Tywin's, the Lannisters' domain, right? And it plays out more or less the same. They lose the Frey alliance, and that causes the Red Wedding. But hold on, there's a bit of a plot hole. And, like, there's a bit of an oversight. Like, you hear about the Red Wedding and how Tywin planned it, with Walder Frey and Roose Bolton and all them. But there is one fact about the Red Wedding, which is, like, there's one thing about it that is so egregious, I would go so far as to call it a plot hole. And that is, wait a minute, by the time Robb has sex with Jane and breaks the alliance with the Freys and marries her, and by the time the Red Wedding happens, those two events are, like, at max a month apart. How the hell did Tywin manage to plan all that stuff? The only way he could have planned the Red Wedding is that if he knew that Robb was going to break the alliance with the Freys and fall in love with Jane. How could he guarantee that he fell in love with Jane? Right. Now, we swap on over to Cersei. In the books, and I think briefly in the show, whenever Cersei was a child, she meets this character called Maggie the Frog, who's a witch, that lives in, like, in the Westerlands, which is the realm where the Lannisters rule over. Whenever she's a little kid, she goes to this witch, and she tells Cersei a prophecy about how she'll outlive all of her children, and that eventually she'll be killed by a Valanquor, which means little brother, and she interprets that as being Tyrion, but there's a popular fan theory that it's more likely to be Jaime. Because Jaime and Cersei are twins, but Cersei came out first, so technically Jaime is her little brother by, like, seconds. But in that description of the witch, she mentions the fact Cersei is, like, in her mind reminiscing about the fact of why she exists, and she mentions the fact that she makes love potions. And that moment with Maggie the Frog, the witch, that is the only time in the entire Song of Ice and Fire where love potions are even mentioned as, like, being a thing. And then, this is how it all ties together. This is the moment whenever your brain is going to fall out of your ear. According to the Sauce Martin websites, like, this is canon and was, like, confirmed by Martin. Jane Westerling's mum, Robb Stark's mother-in-law, her name is Sybil Spicer, and she is canonically the granddaughter of Maggie the Frog. And she was the one, at least according to Feast for Crows, who coordinated the plan of the Red Wedding with Tywin and guaranteed that the Westerlings were going to be rewarded after the Red Wedding. But, like, again, how would they have planned that if they knew that Robb was going to fall in love? But then we have this connection of we have the granddaughter of the only character that has ever been mentioned who makes love potions. I think Robb might have been given a love potion. Or like, a more realistic idea, because, like, A Song of Ice and Fire likes its realism. Whenever they say love potion, they're probably mean he was given some type of hallucinogen or drugs in some way by Jane Westerling's mother. And, like, I believe in that theory because it at least gives some explanation about, like, why Robb suddenly went insane in the books, where because, like, yeah, it is stupid that Robb would throw away his alliance with the Freys to marry Jane, and he's like, oh well, I have to because I had sex with her, and like, I don't want to be dishonorable or whatever. And I'm like, bruh, your dad has a bastard, Jon Snow. Like, I get it, like, there's a whole bunch of things that Jon Snow might not actually be might not be Ned's kid, blah, blah, blah. But Robb doesn't know that. But as far as Robb is concerned, Ned Stark, his father, his major role model, has a bastard. A bastard that Robb loves. So why... And he ditched... At least this is the story that Ned tells his kids. He ditched Jon's mum. So why does Robb feel compelled to throw away the war, essentially, to not stoop so low as something that that his father did? Wasn't he drunk on Milk of the Poppy whenever being healed by Jane? Yes, he was on Milk of the Poppy when he first had sex with her. But I'm talking about, like, Sybil had to have been continuously drugging him. Because, like, after he gets with Jane, Robb just goes insane. Like, he actually becomes retarded. Like, he kills the leader of the Karstarks and ruins the relationship with him. He comes up with this insane plan to marry Walder Frey. And, like, he should have seen Walder Frey betraying him coming. Like, he should have known that was going to happen. And he should have known that Roose Bolton was going to betray him as well. Like, Robb just goes insane after he gets together with Jane. And, like, the only way at this point that I can really believe it is that he had to have been drugged repeatedly over and over again. And we have a candidate, we have a suspect of one character who's in close proximity in him at that point, who has an association with a character who's known for selling love potions, air quotes, i.e. probably some kind of drugs. Anyway, time to fight Margaret. Enough yapping about Game of Thrones.